Welcome to the GYS GYB podcast by the Sales Organisation and myself, Andreas Iatridis. It's been quite a long time, I know, and I apologise. Been quite busy with a few personal things as well as a sales organisation, but all is going well and I am glad to be back. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about what in the name of God is co-selling. First off, have any of you heard of such a term? And if so, do let me know. But this is just a short story of a sales leader in a company I used to work at many years ago who came up with this term. Not necessarily sure if they coined the term, but they definitely brought it up when they decided to take all our inbound leads and manage them themselves. Now, this leader was quite a murky character, starting from their LinkedIn, or should I say LinkedIns, where they had about 4 or 5 variations of their profile. Same picture, slightly different names, different ordering of the names, really fishy, really kind of scammy, and something you'd think perhaps recruitment and the other leaders in the business may have looked at or spotted, but no. Anyway, this leader was consistently unreliable, both in meetings, despite setting super important mandatory meetings. 90, maybe 95% of the time, they'd never show. And generally speaking, were very hard to reach due to the remote nature of their role. And one day, they came up with the idea of co-selling, whereby they would look after all the inbound leads so that we wouldn't, really very generous of them. Of course, the majority of our role was outbound prospecting, cold calling, cold emailing. And we had very few inbound leads, but as I'm sure anyone out there who's doing the same job is always welcome to get the odd inbound lead. Just gives you a nice little bit of a break and a better opportunity, I'd say, to convert a deal faster. With that, they proposed to me that I also take part in the call just in case there's any knowledge gaps as they just joined and to support the call. I was like, yes, but, I'd be perfectly able and happy to manage those calls by myself and support the rest of the team where necessary. However, the response was no. Either you take part or you don't. So I asked about commission. Will I get commission? If this deal closes, will it go against my quota? And the response was that they would need finance approval and that they hadn't thought about that. Again, a bit odd, this is software sales. Commission is kind of like a big element in how we're paid out. So leader goes off to finance, comes back 2 days later, all smiley faced as though they'd managed to achieve something tremendous. And says, they were able to negotiate 60-40. So in other words, 60% of the commission goes to the leader and 40% to the AE, because after all, as per what wasn't told to us, we're doing the easy job, which is updating of CRM, follow-up emails, quotes, pipeline state, all that, CRM hygiene and admin element of the sales call. And that they were doing the really complex part of managing the conversation, asking the questions and getting the next call booked, which for any of us salespeople out there, managing a nice, warm, cozy lead, that's the part we really love. The rest you do, right? It's part of the role, but definitely not that PA part, and not to be presented that the asking questions call, building rapport part is the difficult part. Personally, that's the part I love. And the rest, I just do it because I'm fairly organized. Whatever. Long short of all of that is that the response from myself and my colleagues was a resounding no. If that's the case and you won't allow us to either take the calls or get paid out on them, then we'll continue outbound prospecting and good luck. No problem at all. Problem was, though, that the leader, as I've said a couple of times now, was incredibly unreliable, incredibly inconsistent. And with that, with the few leads they had, whilst calls had been booked, never showed up to them. Can you believe that? And there was one particular lead because a couple of weeks after, I decided to reach out, had their number, gave them a call, and they'd explained to me that yes, they had the meeting booked. The meeting had been pushed once, twice. This particular prospect seemed to be really accommodating and very flexible, and eventually showed up on the call to be on their own. Our sales leader, our infamous sales leader, never bothered showing up. And with that, this prospect, who is probably one of the best types of leads you could ever wish for, went off and purchased from our competitor, right? I mean, what's he going to do? Wait around forever? And that was really disappointing, because that type of lead, the one who's well researched, who's narrowed or created their own short list, who not only knows who you are, what you sell, how your product, your solution functions, and what the benefits are, that's the kind of lead you want. I mean, they're one in 1,000, maybe 1 in 10,000. Literally, it's a question of facilitating the buying process, answering questions, building rapport, and then making sure they have absolutely everything they need. And so, ladies and gentlemen, co-selling does not exist. It only takes one salesperson to sell you something or someone else something. Whilst you may leverage your wider team for support, which I do advocate for, absolutely, depending on the complexity of the solutions you're selling, co-selling does not exist. Selling is a one-person job, as is changing a light bulb, right? Doesn't take two people. So I hope you enjoyed that story. Please follow, subscribe to the show. And if you want to reach out to us, you can visit our website, thesalesorganization.com, and just click the Contact Us button. It's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot. Have a good rest of week. Bye-bye.